Dzień dobry, dzieci. This is the Flurza experience. This is episode number 23. You know who wore number 23, Pavel Berja?
No idea.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he did.
There was the one time where he wore 1 point in the NBA. He wore a number that wasn't 23. Do you know what that number was?
24.
No, he wore 45 because
45.
if I'm not mistaken, there was like an issue with the jersey of the laundry dude where his jersey wasn't available, so he had to wear a different one, so he wore 45. That's
only 46.
Well, one more, yeah, too. The fabled Burja 46.
Yes, my favorite number.
This is a show about card games. We like to sort of putz around with all kinds of the wonderful things of CCG land. A lot of focus on Gwent, obviously, but we do talk about all kinds. So I'm joined by number 46, the man with the pickup sticks and other words that rhyme that are inappropriate, Mr. Pavel.
Hello, Flake. Hello, everyone. Glad to be here, as always, recording this on a Wednesday. Wednesdays are the highlights of the week, for sure. For sure. Yeah, episode 23. We're going up. We're going like crazy.
Just
someone even mentioned Shin Miri on Twitter if we'll ever have him as a guest once again. I said never.
Never. You have basically, first of all, Shin Miri is doing amazing from what I understand. We speak privately now and then. Shin Miri sent me a picture of I sent when he announced that like he was having a kid. He had told me privately beforehand. So I sent him and his wife a bunch of little Star Wars onesies for Leo.
Aww.
So he sent me a picture of little Leo wearing a Star Wars onesie from Uncle Flake. So it made me very happy. So Shin Miri honestly is the biggest winner forever and always because he has an absolutely beautiful young boy named Leo, whom I've never met, but I love dearly. And Uncle Flake loves you, Leo. And one day, hopefully, I will teach you.
We'll jam cards.
Damn right. I will teach you the right way to play cards. Here's how it'll go. Leo will be like 8 years old. He'll be at a table playing cards with his papa. And Shin Miri is going to take like forever to take his turns. And there's no rope in paper card games. So I will be there. Leo,
you'll be the judge.
Yeah, Leo will call me as a judge, and I'm going to come in and on FaceTime, and he'll be like, he's taking too long, so I'm going to give Shin Miri a warning for pace of play.
Yeah.
That's the move.
10 out of 10. Yes. Good. Very good. I hate judges, though. But
yeah. There's like some issues. I know a lot of judges from the Flesh and Blood community, a lot of which have migrated from Magic or do both. There's a lot of wonderful, awesome people, but I have honestly like there are some incredibly nice, fair, respectable, great judges, but every now and then, like everything, like players, like people, there are bad apples
like
who
cops. Like
cops.
Cop.
Well, that's that's a whole other story.
Some of them are like just bad cops. They you give them a little bit of authority and they want to abuse the shit out of that authority.
Like, but the thing about that is like I think that it always boils down to people. It's not that the cop is bad or the judge is bad or the bus driver is bad. It's that the person itself is bad, and it takes other people within that sphere to call out and weed it out. It's much like a community in any card game. And it could be as macroscopic as the entire card game itself or microscopic as my own Twitch chat, where people who are in my Twitch chat or who are, within that community or that sphere, if I don't tolerate bullshit and if I don't tolerate that kind of behavior, my community will be amidst that, and they too will not tolerate it and not want to nurture it, or so they're the ones who kind of self-police, so they don't want that within the community, and they're the ones who do it. Then that's what kind of becomes a little bit of a whole other this become political, which I don't want this to be, but ultimately, that said, there are bad people everywhere. The one story about a judge that I've heard was that a very close friend of mine, very close friend of mine, got a judge warning in a major tournament, not for no reason that he could even surmise. The judge warning was for pace of play, where he had taken less time than the opponent had taken, and when the game resolved, the judge came to check. The same judge who issued him a random warning came in, asked who won, and when my friend said that he lost, the judge celebrated and congratulated and hugged the other person. And he's like, yeah, so much for unbiased.
That's weird.
Yeah, that was weird.
That's favorism. That's bad.
Big time.
Yeah, I only had experience where judges were telling me to play faster, but the judge was like kind of the owner also of the store, so yeah, he wasn't too nice.
Imagine Shinmiri.
Whatever.
Like we're talking about Shinmiri. Shinmiri at any turn. Imagine Shinmiri on Oldham taking times, playing control, thinking out his turn. Oh my god. Shinmiri playing chain with those complex turns. The games would never resolve. They would never end.
Yeah. It'll be a long
big
one.
time. All right, what do we got topic-wise today?
Oh man, I kind of had a lot of topics, and I also thought about one topic that I forgot to mention because did we talk about Top Gun last time, or did we not?
We did.
We did not. Well, no, we did.
Okay. No, we spoke about Batman.
Batman. That was a long time ago, though.
Ago.
I movie updates. So I went to see Top Gun by your recommendation, Flake. Was amazing. I went to the cinema, not expecting anything. Went out totally 10 out of 10. Best movie I've watched in the last couple months. And then on Saturday, I went to see Love and Thunder, and I came out of the cinema thinking, "What the hell did I just watch?" So.
No, you didn't like it.
No, unfortunately, no. And I know you liked it. But
I liked it because of what it was. Like, I took it for what it was. I took it for not something that's meant to sort of progress any kind of overarching phase, whatever, Marvel Universe storyline. What I took it for was, it was ridiculous. I don't know if you've ever watched the show The Boys. The Boys is probably one of my all-time favorite shows.
I will watch it.
Yeah.
I will watch it because everybody's now all about it. That and Stranger Things. Those are two things that people are like, "Oh my god, must watch."
So The Boys, I got into The Boys after season 1, and when season 2 launched, I was following along, and I was like, "This is incredible." So and the thing about The Boys is that it's not about superheroes. It's about a satirical approach to what the real world looks like. They just basically replace the power from politicians to superheroes, but it's still corporations that manage and are pulling the strings. So if you replace politicians with superheroes in terms of who is dictating the power, who is the face of power, and it becomes so ridiculous, but it is the most fearless satirical approach to TV that I have ever seen since like the peak of what South Park used to do. Because South Park is the king of satire, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But this show is like that on crack. It's basically the most absurd stuff. What Love and Thunder was kind of a turning the superhero genre up like on its head into a comedic approach, and I thought it was just a ridiculous romp. I thought that the some of the artistic style of it was kind of cool when they go to like the shadow realm and whatever. I thought
visuals were great. Visuals were great.
There was some great gags. I thought it was pretty funny. The goats I thought were hilarious.
The goats were great.
I went into the movie in the same way that I go to see like a Jurassic Park sequel, where I'm not here for science. I'm not here for things to make sense. I'm here to have a blast. And I was smiling so much during that movie, like the whole time.
Same, but I was expecting like more, and I kind of feel like Thor is just, it's a comedy.
That's what it was. It's Taika Waititi who makes great movies that you kind of fun, but like the Top Gun thing, sitting in that theater, I know it's hard. Like I feel like I was spoiled. This is a movie that you have to see in theaters. There's no question.
Yeah. Just for the sound, the visuals, everything, but it pays so much homage to the original Top Gun that is so good. Even like the stuff that is there, like his motorcycle in the beginning, then he has an upgraded version of that Kawasaki Ninja. It's like everything, like the scene with like instead, not the volleyball, but the football, then playing tag. It's so good. It's so good. It reminds you of the previous movie, and the music, everything. And I mean, if you're into everything aviation related and stuff
Oh.
like that, I mean, it's just porn material for those people, right? If you're into, and it's so well done and so good. And also their facial expressions where they're like, where the G-force is
Oh yeah.
actually on their body. This was actually, captured of them sitting behind like the pilot and stuff like that. So it's very natural, it's very real, and it's just it's so good. And I feel like even the whole like romance story that they added there was just a little bit of it, not too much. But like the whole aspect of being a team, doing stuff together, like this old dog coming in, and it's so good. It's
It,
so good.
yeah,
It did everything right. It did everything
it
right.
was it was very emotional when I wasn't expecting to give two flying Fs about what was going on. Like
Same.
the whole aspect of who he has to train, and then the whole mission, and like we're not going to give away any major plot
Yeah.
points, but
There was a lot of stuff like straight in the fields, right?
yeah, like they just kind of sprinkle a lot, but like it felt like the whole movie wasn't really spinning its tires at any point. Everything was kind of progressing, and like you rooted for everybody in that. Like
Yeah.
you wanted a good resolution for everybody, even the quote unquote villains. You're like, I just want this team to succeed,
Yeah.
and you're right. Like the people who made the movie spent $18,000 an hour on plane rentals. Like that's what they were doing. Like those are real
Awesome.
planes, real cinematography. Like the pilots, like the people, the actors were in the planes, in the backseat
Yep.
while the pilots were flying. Like that's what they did. It was not like minimal to no CGI.
Yeah.
It was the real deal, and you feel it. And oh man,
And that's how you do stuff. You make it as real as possible instead of like, what we're used to today is like for every movie now, the actors, they don't even drive the cars. Like the car is on a one of those like lorry trucks or whatever, and there's cameras everywhere and it looks like they're fake driving and stuff like that. This is all realistic. And I also like that, say what you want to say about Tom Cruise, like people
yeah,
have
well,
opinions about him, but the guy does his own stunts, and him like riding on a motorcycle, without a
oh,
helmet
well,
to
that's
play
the
homage to the old school stuff. That's so good, but you can tell like from a distance and from him being close up, it's the same person. It's not some stunt double. It's
that's
just amazing.
that's the part that bothered me was like nobody wears a helmet in this, and
They don't
um
give a hell.
they do not give a hell. But yeah, say what you want about Tom Cruise, and like that's the problem, is that because Tom Cruise, the person on Earth, the citizen, is a awful human being with incredibly negative influence on things. But Tom Cruise, the actor, is if he wasn't such a you know like meteoric piece of garbage, he would be my favorite actor of all time because of the dedication he puts to the roles. You can't take that away. Like cult or
No.
no cult that he's in, he's still
Hard work.
yeah. He is still the pinnacle of dedication to the craft, and I have to give him credit for that. But he's also a cult leader and like an icon within a cult that ruins people's lives. So,
True.
eh,
But I'm
eh.
I'm 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 happy that they actually let him get away with all this. Like, no, I'm not talking about the cult. I'm talking about him
Okay.
getting away with doing his own stunts and stuff like that, because I know there where we live in a world where we need to put everybody in pillows so they don't get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So especially with actors, because they have contracts, their dependencies and stuff like that, and people are like, oh my god, nothing can happen to him. And yet yeah, he's riding like like a sport bike, no helmet,
Good for him.
chilling,
Good for him.
enjoying.
I hope that he has a minor accident. He very lightly, no damage, knocks his head, and it puts some sense into his brain to renounce Scientology garbage. All right.
So yeah, we got that out of the way. Back to card games, since we got the movie update. So I've noticed you are doing a Flesh and Blood fitness challenge. What's up with that? You plus other people in the Fab
Oh,
community.
well, I don't say thousands, but like many, like at least like 100 or 200 people that I know of are subscribed to this. Basically, friend of mine by the name of Brendan Patrick, who has another Flesh and Blood podcast by the name of Arsenal Pass, So I have a podcast as well. It's called Instant Speed. Instant Speed is more of like a community highlight thing. It's more of an interview style podcast. I bring in a different
I
community
am
member.
aware.
His podcast that he does with somebody named Hayden Dale is more competitive based. So if you want competitive news or competitive insights, you go to them. He started what was called the Fab Fitness Challenge, which is basically the month of July. It's wellness, be it mental, physical, whatever. Make better choices, improve your well-being. And I was like,
Respect.
hell yeah. So we had spoken when we had worked together in Ohio a couple weeks ago, and he's like, I wanted to, because I asked him, because he lost a bunch of weight and he's in great shape, and I just asked him some questions about it. He's like, well, actually, we're doing a fitness challenge. Do you want to collaborate? And I said, hell yeah. So we got together and we kind of organized each in our own communities, and like, there's no animosity, there's no competition between our podcasts or any of the podcasts, frankly, in the Flesh and Blood world.
That's healthy. That's
yeah,
good.
we're all there to support each other. We're always promoting one another. Anyway. And I said, yeah, screw it. Let's do it. I'm like, I needed to get in shape. The shorts are not working out. Plus, I'm going to Warsaw in a few weeks. So I gotta look good for Burza, because, first of all, you showed up that spandex onesie, and I'm hoping that you have another one for me. So I needed to trim down just a little bit. And that's it. So every day it's been eating healthier. I haven't had sugar in God knows how long, since July, since the end of June. Also, if I
saw salads also went in, man.
Tons of salads. I eat like
very lean.
Oh, so like all I eat is turkey or chicken breast, like baked, not fried, none of that. No carbs, like minimal to no carbs. And lots of salad and vegetables.
In August, we'll go all in on the carbs, man. All in.
That's the point. Is that I'm going to the pierogi kingdom, for Christ's sake.
Yes.
Like, I gotta go there and get healthy again.
Cakes, Danishes, dude.
But from like, and then I walk about 1.5 miles or 2 kilometers or so, like, every day, and reading, like, just so I sort of focus on different aspects. One of which is like mental health. So the walk clears my mind, reading clears my mind, and being productive, making sure that by usually noon, I have all the emails I need to answer, all the phone calls I need to make, all the organizational aspect of what I do done. And then it's like, okay, if I need to record stuff, if I need to do this, and that's how it's been. And back to moderate weight training, which I used to do. It's just a couple dumbbells and just some like upper body stuff. And that's it. And taking the stairs instead of the elevator all the time. Well, at least going up. So I live on the 6th floor. So whenever I go in and out of my apartment, it's 6 flights of stairs, and it helps. And now I'm back to almost at tailbot range, but not quite.
Nice.
But we're getting there.
Getting there. Good. That's good. I'm happy that because, as you know, the majority of us as card game players, playing cards is a very stationary thing. And also, if you think about how pro players and casters, they also for sure, they devote a lot of time for preparation. And that is a lot of sitting around. And when you're sitting around, you're just sitting, eating, you're very stationary. It's actually good to take some time where things kind of maybe quiet down a little bit, where you can actually focus on yourself. And it's like mental fitness, which is also very important, because let's not forget, the majority of stuff that happens within a card game happen up here, and it's always busy. You're running around, preparation, testing, everything. There's just a lot to take in, and as humans, I don't think we're equipped to be being like pushed with like sensory input coming from everywhere. Plus there's the news, there's our phones, we're information overload. So that's one thing. So it's actually good to take some time to relax, and actually, do something good for your mind and calm yourself down a little bit. But yeah, actually taking care of your body also, because it's like I said, we're sitting around playing cards most of the time. So it's good to get up, go for a walk, and if you want to do anything else, you can start running, you can start biking, you can start doing whatever. Just get the blood flowing, get the metabolism going and firing on all cylinders, so you actually feel better.
That's the beautiful part. It's like I feel better.
Yeah.
Like I'm not on the scale saying, hey, I lost 10 pounds. I know I've lost a couple, but
doesn't matter.
But
matters how you feel, right? Yeah.
Like I used to just jam all kinds of junk food late in the evening and then go to bed. And my justification for it was like, oh, I basically fast myself all the way through to like 8 p.m. So this is my reward. But then I just I don't want to say throw it all away, but all my calories are garbage. Like when I eat them late
Yeah.
at night. Now it's like, all right, like I'm not typically hungry, but I'll have a coffee. I'll usually have like a little very small snack around like 2 o'clock. And then I'll eat dinner around like 8 o'clock or something
Yeah.
like that. And then
It's good to spice these things out.
yeah. But like the thing is the things I'm putting in my body, like vegetables and salad and broccoli and fruit and whatever, like I'm eating
The
a
good
ton more
stuff.
fruit. Yeah, man. Like I'm like feeling it, baby. Just feeling limber.
Yeah, your energy levels are much better after that. If you get off the sugar is just causing that you have spikes where you go up and then you go down, and when you hit down, you resupplement with sugar to go up again. It's just a never-ending cycle, which is not really good for your body because you're getting like very, a lot too much energy that you can't even digest. Yeah, I'm also in a state where if I ever like I stop drinking like sugared soft drinks at all. I just go towards water 100%, or just tea or coffee. If I have something like a Red Bull, dude, I feel like someone just put wings really on me, because I go like full on power, because it's not something that I'm used to. So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, good kudos to you, and kudos to the whole Flesh and
Yeah.
Blood fam, because that's amazing. Yeah, it's always remember to take care of yourself. Whoever you are listening to this, it's important, you as a human being, put yourself first, and be mindful of that.
Heck yeah. So I saw a picture of you, not the onesie one, but that's a good one nonetheless. But I saw a picture of like Ryan getting just stomped on Family Feud. I saw you, like, and the caption or that you gave was like, I love it when they give me the mic, which is the same feeling I get. It's like, just give me the mic. Don't worry about it. I got this. And like seeing you on stage looking commanding and professional, but also handsome. What was going on there?
So we had a 20th anniversary party on Friday, internal party for CDPR employees, where we all met together to celebrate 20 years of CDPR, of course. And yeah, we had a Family Feud, which I got to be the host for.
Yeah.
So I got to crack like bad jokes and stuff like that, which was really good. And the team was comprised of like the co-founders and the board members, mainly of CDPR, which was really funny, because yeah, I could crack jokes on them, and
Can't do
everything was a
anything.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all a go, so it was really cool. But yeah, they're cool. They also were laughing. It was fun. And yeah, so there were like speeches. There was a nice anniversary video that we had for that, and then it was just one big party with lots of food, drinks, and stuff like that. So yeah, it was amazing, and that's actually the start of the whole thing, because we will also have a community party for the 20th anniversary, which you got an invite for. That
Boom.
means
I'm
me and
not
Flake
irrelevant yet, friends. Don't
in
plan the
August. In August, man, it's
It
happening.
is. See that? It
The
says
Flurza
dear.
experience in person.
It says dear Flake. It doesn't say dear random guy. It
Dear
doesn't
creator.
yeah, it doesn't say dear washed up person. It says dear Flake. I'm going to be there. So suck on that. And I'm
Yeah.
super excited because it has been a hot minute since any of us, or I say any of us, I mean really any, have been to the studio for anything. So
Yeah.
um
COVID killed that. But yeah, now it's the big reunion. And yeah, if anyone listening to this have any ideas what we should do, apart from going to Blue Jeans, of course, which is
karaoke.
yeah,
Please.
karaoke probably.
Please, every time I'm
Is
there, I try to plan it, and then people are like, sure. And then when it comes down to it, everybody's like, oh, you were serious? Yes, I was serious. I'm always serious about karaoke.
You need to talk to Alicia. She's also always on the karaoke train. I'll talk to her. She'll be down for sure.
Hell yeah. But we have a lot to organize because
Oh man,
you
a
have
lot.
also signed me up for like a bunch of armories, a bunch of like Flesh and Blood armories or something like that. So
Yeah, where's the community here waiting for you, man?
I'm like, well, there's Duo Funnel, I think is like a really
He's well known here.
yeah, top tier players. So we're gonna be hanging out. I just want to go there and see what the fuss is about. Like I play with some really good players. I want to go there and start just bringing the light of Canada down up on your faces,
Yeah.
showing you how to play the game. But no.
Watch out. Watch out. We got
I
good
know. Then
players here.
Duo's gonna just absolutely poop stomp me, and I'll be okay.
Yeah, he's a crazy good card game player.
Very
and
good.
anything he touches from MTG to now Fab, he's just and Gwent previously also anything. Very very good player. Very good in drafting and limited formats. So that was kind of his thing when I used to talk when I talked to him back in the Gwent days. That's what he used to say, that limited and draft is the kind of thing. And I think also recently he's also done some drafts for Flesh and Blood, and I think he also qualified very high up and stuff. So I think he'll be probably going to France, if I'm not mistaken, to the Pro
Oh,
Tour.
for sure he is. He was in Pro Tour. I think he was. I don't know if he was top 8 Pro Tour in New Jersey, but he will be in France for the Pro Tour. And the dude is just insane, and it's incredible because when you're talking about the importance of limited, this is a discussion I've had with a lot of pros in Flesh and Blood, and because the format moving forward for a lot of these Pro Tours is a mixed format. It's like classic constructed, so bring your deck, you built it, you got the list, you do 3 rounds, and then you do 3 rounds of draft, and then 3 rounds of constructed again. So like 9 rounds, and then or 2 more rounds, or it's like 8 rounds or something like that. And then from there, there's a cut to day 2, and then day 2 is like the same thing. It's like 3 and 3, and then there's the finals, which is just classic constructed. But people need to understand that, like, when you're doing the Pro Tour or the Worlds, like World Championships, which are going to be in October, I think, it's like, are you the best player in the world, or are you just good at one format?
Yeah.
And that has been something that everybody has been really excited about, is that it's a mixed format moving forward for all major events. All the majors, so Pro Tours and Worlds are going to be mixed, and that is so clutch because somebody can be excellent at classic constructed, but like just bomb out on limited, and then their whole career, like their whole Pro Tour, is done. And I've seen it, and it sucks.
I like that. I like when formats kind of encourage players to be very, very like versatile. Same thing we have in Gwent is like if you're in pro rank and you want to qualify, you need to play all factions. So I like that, but I think also like constructed and limited are such different beasts to approach that it's very hard to be good at both. But I think some players can get away with it easily. So that's really cool. Yeah, yeah. Flesh and Blood all the way. We'll be constructing my deck finally.
Yes.
You need to just tell me what you have, what you don't have, so I can start getting on the singles.
Yeah, that's my mission today. Is I'm gonna go through your list and see what I have extra, and I'll lend you the legendaries for when we're in. Because I got everything in.
Yeah, the really cool thing about all the equipment and stuff like that is all the guys here said they'll just lend me the stuff, so I don't need to like dish out the money on it. So that's cool.
It helps.
Speaking of that, there was a thing that went very viral in the community.
Yeah.
I started like following the Flesh and Blood communities on like Facebook and Reddit and kind of seeing what's going on. And yesterday everybody kind of blew up, and I just saw it because the Warsaw scene also blew up. There was someone, I don't know who, shredding some very expensive tunics in a normal paper shredder.
Yeah, but
I was like, oh man, just leave me one. I need one.
So the story about this is that those tunics are very exclusive because they have specific foiling in their full art. You can't find those in packs. Those cards, and I think they shredded a couple dozen of them. Those cards are exclusively prizes for like the 2021 season for winning particular major events. Basically, you win a calling or you win like a nationals or whatever, you get one of these. You cannot get them any other way. So what LSS did was to basically say, to basically solidify the value of these cards. They said once those are given away, they will never be given away again. There would be no way to acquire them. So everyone's saying, well, what about the extra ones you have that are not awarded? Like you've printed X amount. If you have X minus whatever events, you'll have some left over. What are you going to do with them? And they said, we will destroy them, to basically solidify the integrity of what we're saying, to say that there are only as many as there are major tournament winners. So what they did then to basically prove that they were honest with their word, was they took these tunics and they shredded them, and they videotaped themselves shredding them as proof to say, hey, these are the cards that we said we're not giving away, we're shredding them. The outrage was because you're shredding an already expensive card. Tunics are about $100 to $150 if you can find a good deal on them. They're very important cards. You only need one, and it starts the game on the board, and it's not critical to all decks, but it's a very good card for many decks. So people, and I will qualify this as people who typically don't know much about Flesh and Blood and don't play Flesh and Blood, a lot of Magic community, not all, I'm just saying select few, some, were outraged and saying, you're shredding cards that already have a very high price point. Like, how terrible is that? And the problem is they don't understand that these are prize cards, and they don't understand that these cards were never going to be in circulation. So that was a little bit of the back and forth, which was the Magic community trying to make LSS look bad for shredding cards that people need that were already expensive, without understanding that these cards were never going to be in circulation anyways, so they had no bearing on the price, because if they didn't shred them, you still couldn't get them, and they were never going to be released anyways. So it was manufactured outrage for absolutely no reason. And which makes me laugh, because they're talking about how expensive Flesh and Blood is because of a tunic that costs $125. Meanwhile, I'm spending $300 on dual lands just to. True. So like this was the back and forth, and my part of the conversation wasn't necessarily to say you're wrong, you're worse. It wasn't to say that. It was to say you don't understand the whole picture. These cards, there's 30 something of them. They were never going to be released anyways. They're prizes. It's a prize. It's like a belt or a plaque. You can't buy them. You can't acquire them other than winning tournaments that no longer exist. And card games are expensive. Like, that's just the way it is. I'm not crapping on you because my 4 polluted deltas cost me $160. I'm not crapping on you for that. I'm crapping on you for not realizing that these 30 some odd tunics have no bearing on the price of a card, because they would never enter circulation to reduce demand. It was never going to happen. So that
there's just a lot of competition between the MTG community and the Flesh and Blood community, because a lot of people have moved away from MTG to Flesh and Blood due to a awesome Pro Tour scene that they started developing, and kind of giving players who are into the competitive side actually a place where they can thrive and they can do really cool stuff, which was awesome of them. And I feel like, the card game economy is a ongoing type of thing. But now understanding that these are special versions of the tunic, that makes a lot of sense, because just looking into card market, if you look at Feyendal Spring Tunic, and if you look at the Fab promo with the extended art, rainbow foil and all, these are cards that are going for 2,500 euros. 2,500. Put that like for a piece of cardboard, or even 3,500. There's just 2 copies that I saw, one in Spain, one in Germany, which is crazy. And these are one roads to nationals from one person. So these aren't, but you can also like go and get the 150 euro version, which is the cheaper one, which is also the white border one, but there's also the normal one from Crucible of War. So I mean,
it's been printed 3 times, in 3 different sets. So that's the other thing. And people are like, well, you're shredding cards that people need. They're out there in 3 different sets. Like, I get it that they're very rare, but how does that change anybody who's like, I need 4 Teferis? Like, you're gonna be paying crap. I need 4 Jace the Mind Sculptors. I need 4 whatever. Every card is I
have 1 Jace.
Well, that's it. This is the backup, like the rewind that you got to take, is that card games are, especially in paper format, are expensive to keep up with. And just understand that. Like, just get it. Like, all the funny part is, like, people who never and don't play the game and don't care to play the game just want to crap on it because of a card that is a good card that is expensive. not realizing that it's the same for their own card game. It's just that one card that is very important that I can play across any deck that I ever want to play. I can play that card, and it costs $130 to $150. Yeah, that's expensive. Absolutely, that's expensive. But again, I want to play 3-color Magic. I need how many dual lands, and how much is that going to cost me to be competitive? I get it, and that's not criticism.
Even playing like two color, like I have a Zorius deck which I love, but it took me a lot of years to put that together. You know, I'm really talking years, because it's very hard just to buy everything. That deck on paper, like average pricing gives you like $1,200 in paper.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot if you think about for card games, which the majority of actually of the price of this deck is mainly in, of course, the planeswalkers, which are expensive, but also the mana base is just crazy expensive. And
and that's
Magic,
not even...
and that's where that's where the prices go, because for like, if you want the dual lands, the ones that, or the lands like, I don't know, like you mentioned Polluted Delta or Flooded Strand. Well, these are cards that you sack, and then, you know, you're able to search for cards like these. There's not many of them in terms of like printings, so they're very hard to get. That's all, and they're played throughout formats, so that's where the price is also high up there.
And that's totally fine. And like that was the conversation. It was just, what really bothered me is that there's always this animosity towards Flesh and Blood from Magic players, whereas Flesh and Blood players, like Flesh and Blood players take the bait and bite back, and some of them also instigate, and I'm not a big fan of that. But it's not exclusive to Flesh and Blood and Magic, where there's like, I don't know what it is. It's because like when this came out, all the Flesh and Blood players, when they saw the shredded stuff, were like, oh no. Anyways, like, you know, it was one of those, because they knew what the context was. But there's a whole bunch of Magic players who are like, this is absolutely obscene, shredding cards that people need, and blah blah blah. And it's like, no, we never had an option to ever get these cards. There was never an option. So it's like being upset that you lost your dinosaur insurance. Like, it didn't matter. It didn't matter that I lost my dinosaur insurance, because I'd never needed it, and I was never going to get it anyways. Like, it was never, the dinosaurs were never a threat, you know? So like, that's the issue. But this kind of animosity exists between other card games too. And it's always community fueled, because I don't think that like people who play the games don't actually give an F. And we kind of touched upon this last week, where if somebody plays another game, the communities are like immediately vile, and the vitriol that they spit at those players for like playing other card games, it's disgusting. It's kind of like, but this is what makes me like, why? Like,
because people like controversies, and having cards put into a shredder is just controversial, because you're seeing something that has a high market value just being put into a dumpster, and they're like, well, people could use that. No, they could not use that, because there were specific promos for specific events. But you know, no one understands us. It's just that the thing kind of goes viral, because it's you know, it's on the edge pretty much, and people like, you know, edgy stuff. So that's why they react to that.
Yeah. Nobody's called me a traitor to my face yet, but it's gonna happen. I can't wait.
Oh.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's like having conversations with other people about, you know, card games and things like that, and it's just funny, because like all the people who are playing the games are just don't care. Like, we don't care about that kind of stuff. It's just like, all right, cool, I'm gonna continue enjoying my game. Like, I don't care, you know. So, you know. And when it came to this shredding thing, which was kind of, it was cool to see. Like, I saw it, I'm like, yeah, all right, well, they kept their word. And the funny part about it is like some of the conversations that I had with the Magic players, like one of them was like, this is bogus, blah blah blah. And I said, you realize that Magic does this too? They just don't record it. He's like, I know Magic does it. He's like, this is just bad optics. I said, so it has nothing to do with the price of the cards. It has to do, because the first thing they said was like, the card's so expensive, you're shredding copies of it. So then I had to explain. I said, you understand that these were never in circulation, and the few dozen of these that are getting shredded are not going to affect the price point. And then their reply was, well, it's not about the price, it's about the optics of it. I said, you realize that Wizards does this too. You know, they shred promos of cards that people want. And they said, yeah, but they don't videotape it. I said, so it has nothing to do with the shredding of the cards because you're clearly
It's
okay with
just
it.
showing it.
It's just
Yeah.
putting it on video. I said I just want to make sure we're on the same page here. That's what you're mad about. That you're just creating some sort of animosity. You're just fueling the fire of something that nobody who plays the game gives two rats' asses about.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, that always spikes controversies. But yeah, there are Magic like judge promos, which are very rare, and they are also for special events. Same goes for just like promos that you get on a certain event for like release. And sometimes these cards, their value goes up if the card is actually being played a lot. If it's not, then the value goes down. But people specifically search for these cards and really want them. So yeah, I think it makes sense. But these are just special for special events, and I just feel like people were just maybe rubbed the wrong way that these are being destroyed in front of their faces, right?
Yeah. Well, they should take an afternoon privately to rub themselves the right way and maybe take the stress off of making bad decisions of making mountains out of molehills. The other thing I wanted to bring up actually is that I think like it's always fun where the cycle sometimes of new cards, and especially with Gwent, where day one everyone's playing, everyone's having a good time. Day two, people are kind of sorting things out, figuring out what's good, and then day three is this is overpowered. Oh my god, how can they do this? And like, what's the deal? And oh my god, and who the hell's in charge? Who's flying the plane? What the hell? Like, everything's terrible and blah blah blah. And again, it's like it's not the same people because it's just this wheel that you spin, and it's like one group is gonna come.
See what's gonna happen this week, right?
Yeah, it happened with every card drop where there's the initial thank you, great cards, cool, unique abilities, which I agree with. A lot of these cards have really cool and unique abilities. And then that basically changes to once the meta solves, everybody's flipping out because they're too stubborn to change something. Like there are cards that are just over the top. I get it. And the problem is that in games that have deploy effects, having a way to recur that deploy effect is always going to be powerful because it allows you to replay very strong cards. So from what I'm hearing is like there's people who can jam Renfree like many times and really create some nasty experiences. But hey, what do you expect from high provision neutral cards? Like what did you want from a Renfree? Like, are we all happy now that Renfree's in the game, or is everyone solid and settled and happy? And like it's just it's just the way, it's just the cycle of the thing where the voices
standard.
Yeah, well, the voices that praised the expansion are now out enjoying it, and the people who are upset about things are now the ones who are coming to the front. And each group thinks that they are the majority, and that's the fun part about it.
Yeah, I know people are complaining about Renfree, and we're looking at Renfree right now. But yeah, it's something that happens. I think with every drop that we do, that something will kind of be there. And there were questions of if the card was tested and stuff like that. I think we even have that card.
Yeah, we'll get to that question, I think.
So yeah, good times.
Good times.
Good times. Yeah. One thing to mention, like we'll be attending events in person. So you're going to France for Pro Tour. Is it Lille or
Lille? La Ville de Lille. Yeah, so
nice.
Lille, which is about an hour north of I say an hour. An hour is not like a distance, but like an hour on a train north of Paris. So I'm flying into Paris. I'm going to spend a day in Paris and then go to Lille to work for 4 days, which is going to be amazing. Yeah. And you're doing some stuff too, right?
Yeah, I'm going to TwitchCon this weekend in Amsterdam. There's going to be a lot of Gwent people to meet up with. So I'm really excited for that. Me and Ryan, we're going to be there. So yeah, it's going to be good fun. I'm just really excited to see everybody in person because, like you mentioned, it's been quite some time. And, Lionheart will be there, Thea will be there, Miss Lady J, Oyerfeldy, like all the Gwen peeps will be there. So really excited. Awesome. Bane also. So yeah, good stuff. Good times.
Who's the last one?
Bane.
Bane. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Those are a lot of awesome people that I would I'm jealous that I won't be able to be there, but Enjoy
You'll
it.
be here in August, and don't worry,
Yeah.
we'll make it up.
Amsterdam. Flake with some money in his pocket in Amsterdam seems like a bad idea.
Bad idea.
Yeah, but yeah, we're gonna have some good fun. I'm really excited for this party thing. I don't know what is going on. I have no
Good stuff.
details. I have no details. I just hope that when they ask me for travel, travel
Flying in
details.
early, flying out late.
Yeah, I don't know when the party is and everything, but if all goes well, it's gonna be like kind of like how we used to do during the opens, which was arrive Wednesday morning, spend the day Wednesday, just kind of chill out, get acclimated, and then maybe Wednesday evening go for dinner with Pavel,
Yes.
sleep on his
Actually, it's
couch.
good because we're not gonna. At least I'm not gonna be working that much because it's not a Gwent esports event, so I'll have more time that we can just use up for shenanigans.
That's a good way to put it. We'll just jam Flesh and Blood non-stop arenos. It's gonna be so
That's
good.
probably true and high possibility of that. I'm actually taking my cards to Amsterdam this weekend, so
Oh, that's wicked.
me and Ryan can catch up on the Flesh and Blood stuff.
I like it. You guys are so horny for it. It makes me happy. Every time you guys send me questions or send me pictures or whatever, I asked Ryan. I said, "Hey, when I'm coming, I'm bringing a bunch of cards, but if you have a specific hero you like, I'm gonna dig through like my rares and majestics to bring you cards that you'll want to
I
play."
heard Chain. I heard Chain.
But Chain is in Blitz, and the problem with Chain
Yeah.
is, I mean, like I don't think there's a problem with Chain, but yeah, he's Chain is like he said Runeblade, so I might
Nice.
put him together Viserai, but Viserai in Blitz is banned now because he hit Living Legend. It's tough, but I know that you like the big man. You like Guardian.
Oldham. I'm
Yeah,
just Oldham all the way, and yeah, I'm slowly putting together my Oldham constructed deck. I have a couple of things missing, which I'll send over to you a list because I have a card market want list. I have one for MTG. I
yeah,
have one for Flesh and Blood now. So yeah,
yeah. You need the
good stuff.
staples. You got this covered because it's a good deck. It's just if like after I've played against you with that control, life gain, artifact garbage, like I'm like, yeah, Oldham's your jam because you're patient. You're totally
I am
patient. You're so patient. So I'm like, this is gonna be bad news, but I'll teach you a lesson or two.
good.
My favorite, some of my greatest joyful moments are when people that I teach the game to beat me. Like,
That's the best, right?
yeah. Well, one of my
I
first
had the
major
same thing with Magic. Whoever I taught to play Magic, and when they would beat me, I was like, yes,
I
good.
played against McBeard, a Dane, at when I introduced him to the game, and he was really into
Hmm.
Guardian, and we played against each other at a Road to Nationals tournament, and he was on Bravo, I was on Katsu on Ninja, and he had never beaten me ever. We had played a half dozen times, maybe 8 to 10 times against each other. He had never beaten me, and he beat me by one in that round,
Aw,
and I was like, he was elated because
that's
like
good.
when we paired off against each other, he's like, oh well, this is an auto loss. I said, no, 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 you know what you're doing. Like, let's play it out, and he got me, and I made one small mistake, he capitalized, and it was done, and so I was super happy about that.
That's always good. Yeah, it's good to see like people you teach something, beat you, and it's a nice feeling.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
huge feeling. Yeah. Anything else you want to touch upon before we hit the mailbag? I'm sure
I
there's some.
think we got it. I think we got it. We talked about everything card game related. We also talked a little bit about Renfree and our plans for the upcoming stuff. So yeah, lots of smaller topics today, but lots of
Yeah.
stuff happening right now, and actually good stuff happening. I'm really happy with everything that's going on. And last week was just so much stuff with Black Sun and Rogue Mage. I feel like this week is a week where we can all kind of release the tension and
Yeah.
just feel a
Release the
little bit.
tension.
Yeah.
I think next week's topic. So if you're listening to this and you want to sort of chime in and ask questions about this particular topic, but next week we decided that we want to talk about careers in CCGs, be it from developer, sort like there's various different elements or different angles. Like you can be a developer, work on the creation or design of a game, the direction of a game. You could be on the broadcast element, the content creation element, or you can just be from a playing standpoint as well, like have a
Hmm.
career as a player. So we're going to talk about careers in CCGs next week. So if you have questions specific to that, feel free to send them to us because it's very rare that we come up with a topic for an episode this far in advance. So we usually are like, it's usually the day before. We're like,
Yeah,
so
I had a brainstorm session today because I was feeling like we're getting slowly into a place where I feel like we're kind of running out of topics. Of course, there's always like community driven content that is happening and things that are happening around the game, but sometimes it's good to have like a general topic about the whole like CCG thing. So I feel like, yeah, talking about careers and CCGs is something that we'll talk about next week because yeah, it's a cool topic. And like you said, you can approach it from different spot, different places, and you can find your own place in CCGs. So good stuff. Good stuff.
you tell me the moment you need me to do my standard rotation PowerPoint, and that'll be an episode.
We don't want to bore the audience.
Yeah, the truth hurts, baby. The truth hurts.
No.
All you people are like,
waste of your people's ears.
yeah, I don't want to hear it. Head in the sand. I know nothing about any other card game but Gwent, but you're wrong. Okay, here. Heard. Moving on. All right, let's go to the mailbag, friends.
All right, we are back with the mailbag, aka the Q&A, where we take your questions from Reddit and Twitter and answer them as best as we can. And yeah, I've selected a couple this week, and we will start with Mlakus, who's a moderator on Reddit. Would you like a daily run system for Rogue Mage?
What's a daily run system? I don't even know what that is.
I feel it's like a daily, like you do a certain amount of daily runs and you get something out of them.
You mean like daily quests kind of thing?
Yes, quests and achievements.
Okay,
on a daily basis.
The one thing that I've been,
yeah.
I mean, anything that increases replay value. The problem is what kind of rewards are you getting for it?
True. I feel like it's just an additional achievement type of tier quest thing where you might be getting something, but you would get something probably for multiplayer Gwent, not for, Rogue Mage itself, because it's a self-contained, PvE experience. So I would not see anything for it specifically, unless there will be any plans for updates for Rogue Mage, which is actually the next question, which I feel like maybe not at the moment because we just launched. But yeah, I feel like just additional incentive for players to play. Of course, there's achievements on Steam and GOG. So those are things that you can get into if that's your jam. I'm not much of an achievement type of person. I don't really care about them too much. But for example, when I play Arena for MTG, I actually do the dailies because they give me gold, and gold gives me packs, and packs give me possibilities to get cards, and also give me the possibility later to craft cards that I need for my decks. And so I kind of get that incentive, but I guess that makes more sense in the multiplayer format. But unless, of course, we interpreted your question in the wrong way, then let us know about that.
Yeah, we're sorry about that. I'm an achievement whore, big time. Absolutely big time achievement whore. I love seeing the bells and whistles and fireworks that go off when you achieve something, and like being a completionist to that degree is just always about it. But like right now, I'm playing a lot of Marvel Snap, which games are under like 3 minutes. They're great. It's deceivingly strategic because it seems very basic. However, the problem I have with the game, and this is a complete tangent, is that the progression system is feast or famine. It's absolutely like beyond annoying. You'll complete quests. There's no way to craft cards that you want. You have to basically hope that when you do attain an unlock of a new card, that it's the card you want, because it's all randomized. So a player who opens the 5 cards that synergize well together to make a good deck, if they open them early, meanwhile you're struggling with the garbage, you're going to get absolutely roadblocked by good decks at a certain level. But I think the game is good, but it has fresh I think it has like fresh missions like every 6 hours. So like every 6 hours I get the itch of like, I got to log in. I got to get the XP. I got to do the thing. I got to progress my stuff. So I'm always for progression systems. The problem with Rogue Mage is I find like what are the rewards you're getting, and would they pertain to Gwent or would they pertain to Rogue Mage? And if they're pertaining to Rogue Mage, what part of Rogue Mage would allow you to like? Is it extra evos on cards? Is it like at a certain point you're gonna run out? So it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard without a direct correlation between Rogue Mage and Gwent, like Thronebreaker had. It's really difficult to figure out how you're gonna create an achievement system that's actually going to have any kind of repercussions or value outside of Rogue Mage, right? So
yeah, going back to also what you said about Snap, like I saw a lot of people from their community complaining about that, complaining overall about the economy of the game. So I think these are valid concerns that it's very hard to actually. I mean, if you get good RNG, you might get some nice synergistic cards that will work out for you. But if not, then you're pretty much it's not something that feels good as a player. But as we know, they are still in beta phase, so things might change.
Yeah, I hope so.
To the course of the development, because I feel like they are also getting, let's say, on their program, veteran CCG players, who I feel like will have their kind of input and experience put into that. Plus, we need to remember that the majority of the people that are part of the company that is making the game itself came from Hearthstone, so I feel like they have all put together a lot of CCG experience under their belts. So I would expect good things to come from that moving forward.
I hope
hopefully.
So. It's Ben Brode, right? Ben Brode is knows what he's doing. The thing about it is he came from Hearthstone, which has probably the worst economy of any card game that I've played, to Marvel Snap, which is a different but also not good economy. So it's like, Ben, buddy, get a but then again, how do you argue? Hearthstone is like at its peak was making something like $300 or $400 million a year for Blizzard. Yeah. So what are you gonna say?
Easy clap.
Yeah.
In the good old days.
All right. Next up.
Next up was the DLC update planned for Rogue Mage, and I think I answered that very quickly. Like, it would be cool to have additional bosses, enemies, cards, maps, and stuff like that. But I feel like we're just after launch, and then we have to kind of wait and see what the reception is of the game as it is right now, and then we'll kind of decide what to do moving forward.
Yeah.
And the next question is so good that I want you to read that question.
Oh, the next question is incredible.
We can get on a tangent. It's finally, I love questions like this. It was on top of my list, but first I wanted to get
so we're going to skip over this one. I guess we're skipping over Lazerom. So Lazerom's the one who asked about DLCs and such. So I guess it's a wait and see.
Yeah.
It's
an easy answer.
It's an easy answer. It's tough. Like from a perspective of a player like myself, like the thing about Rogue Mage is like in my mind, I feel like Rogue Mage was where a lot of like we got 20 card drops for a year because I'm sure a lot of the stuff went to Rogue Mage. That in my mind, that's kind of what I'm interpreting from this, and that could be very wrong, but it seems like as soon as like the Golden Necker project kind of launched, a lot of the resources and such were sort of diverted to Golden Necker, which became Rogue Mage, which means that all the new art from Rogue Mage, all the stuff, all the animations, etc., went to Rogue Mage, and now we're getting 20 card drops. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, if now that's done, does that mean that we're going to get more Gwent multiplayer-esque kind of content because those resources are now potentially allocated to Gwent? Like everybody's probably pining for a 90 card drop again. Like that would be amazing, but I'm just curious. Like I just hope that Rogue Mage wasn't the linchpin of one of those situations where like, well, if this succeeds, you'll get more bigger stuff, but if it doesn't succeed, well, we'll wait and see, and that's kind of a scary aspect, but
we have to wait and see like what's gonna happen after this, because I feel like things are gonna shape up, especially after this year, to kind of see what's gonna happen with next year. And I also feel that the roadmap for next year will kind of answer a lot of these questions.
All right. This is the great question. This one's from Serene Shireen, somebody who is a wonderful person who often, whenever I'm streaming, is just there. I stream once in a blue moon now, once every few weeks. I'll pop on a stream. But back when I was doing it daily, Serene Shireen was there all the time with a great positive outlook and a wonderful person. So thanks for the question, because it's amazing. And that question is, What's a skill you'd like to improve? This is massive. Absolutely massive, because you can go down so many different avenues on this one.
Yeah. It's a question that you can tackle from multiple angles in life, right? I was actually thinking about this because I mean, skills can be attached to almost anything. I feel like I always want to improve anything, like fitness related, so cycling, running, anything in those avenues. But also, I think there's a lot of things that I want to improve, like in life. I want to be, a good husband. I want to be a good dad. I want to maybe get less irritated by less important things. I want to, do good stuff for Gwent and for the community. So there's like a lot of things that pretty much fall into this, and it's like I feel like it's good to have like an overall plan or roadmap for yourself in terms of like the things that would like to improve. Sometimes you can improve them by doing like small steps, but sometimes I feel like these are bigger tasks that kind of once you accumulate it through, you're kind of improving in them. And yeah, I mean, it's a big question to digest, but I think the things that I just mentioned here are there. Yeah, and I feel like we always want to be better card game players, of course, because
Yeah.
all of us do. All of
Well,
us do that love CCGs, right?
I think that that's definitely like that's the easy answer, is just to be a better card player, because it has so many implications on a lot of my life, which is not just playing the games but also being a broadcaster for the games as well,
Yeah.
understanding them, discussing them, casting matches, etc. It's important. Um, I think that the way I'm looking at this is, if I just had a magic wand, because I'm already playing card games, so I'm constantly striving to improve and I'm working at it. So I feel like if all my time is already, and I enjoy that aspect as well. That's the other thing I should say, is that I enjoy the work I put into being a better card player. If I were
Amen.
just to snap my fingers and become drastically improved at something, like the first thing in my mind is like guitar. I would like a lot of people might not know this, but I have a few dream careers, as it were. I'm living the dream right now. Broadcasting is what I feel I was born for. Sports journalism, same thing. It's like any kind of microphone, radio that I can discuss some cool stuff. The other thing is like
Same.
being a musician by career, like a successful musician, is something that I really, 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 in the back of my mind, like if Mephisto just popped out of nowhere and said you can be a broadcaster for card games or a musician touring on stage with thousands of fans, which would it be? And they said you're gonna get paid the same. I would be like, that would be a really tough one, a really tough one, because there's a good chance that I would just say, you know what, it's been sweet, but you know, there's something about playing blues guitar on a stage and singing your heart out that just
That's
goes the
amazing.
extra mile. That might be it for me. That or golf. Like, oh, I wish I could just. You know what? I think it's golf. I honestly think it's golf.
Yeah, there's been a lot of things that we kind of gravitate to, and I think a lot of these things are hobbies to some extent. I don't know if I would like want to trade my job for, I don't know, being like a professional cyclist or something like that. Probably not, because they're they travel all the time. They stick to a certain diet, and I also would miss the aspect of actually like we were talking in the beginning, like someone giving us a microphone in order just to have fun, perform, and also just interact with people. I feel like interacting with people, interacting with the camera is just something that we naturally, both me and Flake, gravitate towards, because yeah, we just like to fool around and have fun on stage, and or just in front of a camera, in front of a microphone, because we can speak our minds and do stuff that we want, and it gives us a lot of pleasure and fun. So yeah, you on the broadcasting side, I also like hosting events and doing stuff like that. I also had the privilege of doing the 20th anniversary stream last week with Marcin Iwiński. So these are things that whenever I think about like this, work and the stuff that I enjoy doing at work the most is any type of event that is either streamed or is just done live. That's cool. That's awesome, and I would not trade that for anything. I feel like.
No, I agree. But
we're here for a reason.
Yeah.
I think stars align the proper way.
I think so too. And you and
Which
I
is weird because when I was a kid, I would never like envision this or imagine this going this way, and it's fun. But yeah, we'll also talk about careers and CCGs
Yeah,
next
we'll
week.
talk about that next
So
week.
we can talk about how thankful we are for where we are right now in our lives.
All right,
Yep.
here it goes. This is the one.
Rent-free time.
We don't now.
Da-da-da-da-dum.
There was this just before we get into this question. Somebody asked, "I know we can't talk about balance. Can we talk about imbalance?" And you're like, "Nope, fat no, big bold underscore nope."
I like those, but the question was asked, in a
jovial way.
lighthearted,
Yeah.
jovial, lighthearted way. So I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the response because it was, it's good. Like let's be.
People are paying attention, right? Like that's the
Yeah.
important part. People are paying attention.
Yeah.
Same thing when somebody asks about premium tokens and the other people are like, "Hey, do this."
They stopped. No more Dagon. No more premium tokens, man.
Well, the
We'll soon
rumor
get
report
out of
went away.
business.
Yeah.
Rumor report is gone.
Well, we'll fire up the
It's
rumor
good.
report when Dagon is actually around the corner. We'll fire it up again and throw everyone.
Exactly.
Off. Yeah.
Plus, we still have blue jeans, so we're good. One thing remained from the beginnings of the Flurza experience.
Hell yes. Good old blue jeans.
All
All right. Next one, go for it.
By back row 12. Back row 12. Did you guys test rent-free and decide that it was in fact balanced? Genuine question.
Well, I would be surprised if it was tested. Like, this is a two-parter to the degree of, like, did you guys test rent-free? Yes. I didn't. I don't partake in PTRs. Not that I don't care. I'm not a good deck builder, and I don't
Get
care.
this. Shinmiri tested it.
Yeah, so here's the other thing. This is what I wanted to get into. All the people who complained about previous cards, who are like, what the hell were CDPR thinking? Does anyone test these cards? Why don't they get any of the pros or streamers to test these cards? They do. And it got past them.
We do.
Yeah, so all of the people who get upset about cards that are OP or that need tuning and then say, why don't they get pros and streamers to test these cards? They do. They do. And they're the ones who said they're okay. So the angst and you should couple them in when you guys are like in with your torches and pitchforks about this stuff. Throw Shinmiri on a stake and burn him there too because he's part of it. Well, either way, did you guys test rent-free? Yes, I personally didn't. But did you and decided it was in fact balanced? What if the answer was no and we're like, no, it's not balanced. Ship it. Let's go. We're like, what? So
at the place that we were testing it, we felt like it was balanced. And I think you always will get this if you're testing within a closed PTR group. But I feel like playing something at a bigger sample size with more people kind of showcases you problems and also probably also showcases that a lot of people just are playing the same type of deck. And I feel like after a week, because it's been a week since we launched Black Sun, it's still very early because I feel like, if something is problematic, players will sooner or later just find a way to get around it. But yeah, it was tested.
Yeah, it was tested. And like the problem is, and this is the one thing, is that the PTR group of like a dozen people or whatever who are testing it, who are your favorite streamers, pro players, all of those people that could do no wrong. In certain people's eyes, these are like the deities of Gwent that can never have a bad opinion and could never be wrong. They're the ones who said, yeah, it's good. Send it. The problem is that you have a small group of people, however, adept at the game that they may be, however, whatever levels of understanding they may have of the game, versus tens upon tens of thousands of people playing nonstop will eventually figure out more so than these few people. There's that old adage of 1,000 monkeys on 1,000 typewriters over a long period of time will eventually produce the complete works of William Shakespeare, which is basically even people who are not. I'm not calling the Gwent community a bunch of monkeys. What I'm saying is that even low level players will eventually find the magic potion and concoct the right recipe for an OP deck that other people may have missed, and it's purely off of random occurrences that happen so frequently. There's a limited amount of variables, and so many people for so much time will eventually figure out what the best usage of these cards are. Plus, there's people who are actively seeking to break the game and who might have visions or angles that other people might not. So in the limited amount of time that a PTR would exist, which is a few weeks if I'm not mistaken, and there is feedback given, and the feedback that's given is assessed, implemented or not implemented, retested slightly, and then after that, if there's other critiques or criticisms, and that those are assessed, and if there's revisions that need to be made there, the revisions are made, but they don't have time to retest them, so they're reprinted with the new changes and the new tweaks, and they're out in the wild, and you gotta see, because it's a matter of time, and it's limited, and there's a limited amount of people, and people might say, well, why don't you add more people to the PTR? Well, however many you add, if you double the PTR, you're still limited by a couple weeks, and you're still vastly outnumbered by the tens and tens of thousands of people who are constantly jamming games and figuring this out. It's just implausible to release a perfect expansion. If you wanted this to be perfect, it would take a month to 2 months of PTR of people dedicating constantly to this. Like other card games that exist have testing teams, for instance, and I don't want to circle this back to Flesh and Blood necessarily, but I spoke to James White, like the guy who created Flesh and Blood, and they're talking about balance, and they say, since it's a paper card game and we can't tweak things, we have on staff a group of world-class players who play 8 hours a day with new cards, and their entire job is to bust and break the game. And after a month of 8 hours a day of jamming games, if this group can't bust it, then we think it's fine. But we're still at the mercy of the creativity of the people who are thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands who play, who will eventually seek advantage and find a combination that people were not sure of or did not get canned. It's just the nature of it. So it was tested.
Yeah, plus all these things, even when we have our lovely community members helping us test, you need to bear in mind that they are talking directly with the designers that are also they prepared this card, they did their initial testing for it, they changed the ability already numerous times, and sometimes from these PTRs there are things that kind of come in and then they are adjusted, changed as we go. So I mean, it's a long process, and it would take a lot more time. Hopefully, I feel like with this meta, maybe things will change in the second week, but we're monitoring closely and looking at it, so we'll kind of see what happens. But our design team is always there and always listening to what everyone is saying, so worry not about that.
The one caveat I have about it from the point of the designer is that if a card is clearly busted or overtuned or whatever, you gotta kind of put ego aside and say, all right, the idea was great, but it's not gonna work, and maybe down the line we'll shelf it and whatever. I think, and I'm not saying that that's necessarily what Gwent designers do, but I'm saying, like, at a certain point, an idea needs to be abandoned because it's either ill-timed or it's fundamentally flawed based on the environment that card would be printed into. So you can't necessarily do it, and it's just the nature of the game. The problem is if a card is busted now, will it ever not be busted without standard rotation? Like, that's just, I don't mean to harp it back there, but that's just the case. Is that if card X prohibits card Y from being printed because their interaction is over the top, then card Y will never be printed because card X is already in existence. But if you rotate out card X, card Y now is no longer busted, and now you have a cool new card that can do some cool new things.
You nerf card X and make
Unless you nerf
card
card
Y,
X.
which is better.
Then you nerf card X,
You
but
have
then
power creep.
right, but then you nerf card X, and card X that synergized with a lot of other cards, say cards ABC. Now that no longer is in balance because card X is weaker, so the card that deck that ran those or the interactions that they had is no longer good. So what do you do? Like it's tough,
Yeah.
but then you're rotating out card X. So is ABC still there? Is A and C rotated out and B? It's a whole different thing. But that's like I said, that's for the PowerPoint. All right, last question. I believe is from Jess Snowwolf, asking production of hard copy decks for in-person play? Question mark. Sometimes one thing I have to say is that a lot of the things that we get on these Reddit threads are no longer questions. It's just people jamming out laundry lists of things. Like there was the one person who's like, 1, Renfree, 2, Sir Scratch a Lot, 3, big point swings,
Premium tokens.
and I was like, and all I just in my head, I just pictured this person like reading off commandments, and I was like, there's no question in here. I don't understand what you're talking about. So my reply was Han Solo, Millennium Falcon, rescuing Luke Skywalker at the Death Star. Like that's basically
that was a good reply. I saw this when I was compiling.
Well,
these
dude, put
questions.
an effort, like put a question mark in there. Like what are we supposed to do? Like we're like
minimum effort, please.
Yeah, like you're literally taking a twig in the sand and drawing symbols. I'm like, the hell are you drawing here? I'm not here to interpret what's going through your mind. So yeah, production of hard copy decks for in-person play, question mark, could make the game more enjoyable for people while simultaneously promoting and expanding public awareness. This is a fascinating idea because I own physical cards. They're out there. I've even given some. There was somebody who on a Reddit thread was out there and said, hey, where can I get some? Can I buy some? So I just I messaged the person and said, I've got some. So I sent them my Scoia'tael deck, like a sealed Scoia'tael deck. I kept the Northern Realms one, and I gave away all the other cards I had because I'd rather they be in community people's hands. That said, the problem with playing paper card Gwent is that you're going to have to play a very basically dumbed down version of it because you're not going to have, like, what happens if you're playing Trebuchet? Where does that random 1 damage goes? What happens if you're playing banish a random card or something like that out of your deck? Or what if you're playing, something along those lines? It's incredibly difficult for random elements to enter a game, especially when there's like, how do you play bombardment? How do you decide which cards get hit? So you're going to have to play a very basic version, which people would probably not be happy about.
Yeah. I feel like if we made at any point decks in physical form, they would have to be kind of like your entry level decks for any type of card game that you get into, and then we would have to stop at that. Because if we wanted to ever get into being a physical CCG, we would need to change the way we produce everything, how we do balance. It would be a separate team just for making the physical stuff, and it takes a lot of work, and it's a whole big jam, and I don't feel like we have the time, the capacity in order to do it. But making like basic decks would kind of make sense. But I've talked to our like biz dev team some time ago in terms of like doing updated decks. They were like the interest wasn't that high there from people in order just to make physical versions of the cards. That this game is digital first, and that's how it was developed. And we leave physical first to card games like Flesh and Blood. Let them do their thing because we're not going to compete with them on this market. And I feel like if you just want cards that you'll just jam for fun, there's a lot of community people making these their own Gwent decks and playing them for fun and not selling them. So you could probably like just create them yourselves. And yeah,
I can see
that's what I had to say.
From like a promotional standpoint, but at that point it's more of a souvenir than it is an actual playable deck.
It is. No.
Like I use a Gwent card as like a bookmark. A couple of years ago I would send Christmas cards to like Twitch viewers on the like I would write a note on a Gwent card and put it in an envelope and send it to them. Like little things like that. Like basically that was more or less the move, was just that I knew that these are, I'm never going to play these, but I mean, they exist. Like I don't know where you can get them now, but printing new ones, yeah, printing new ones that kind of reflect what the game style is right now, it doesn't seem plausible to me, and I'm okay with that. It's like, how do you play Hearthstone on, it's like with all the create mechanics, like that's the thing. Like think about it. Like what happens if you play a runestone in paper? How the hell do you resolve that?
Impossible. Impossible.
So it would have to be a very dumbed down version, which would be a lot less appealing to those who are trying to play a card game versus trying to just play Gwent for the novelty of playing Gwent on paper. And
yeah, maybe like a Shub version where you choose 3 options. You have like tokens for them, and then you roll a d20, and depending on what you roll out is kind of the numbers is the kind of the effect that will happen. That would be kind of fun. But that becomes like a interesting, complicated card game by itself.
Yeah, that's the issue, right? Is like it becomes
weird and awkward and clunky.
Yeah,
because it wasn't designed to be on paper in the first place.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's fine. It's all good. Yeah. Like, let's be real. Like, an airplane could be a really cool boat, but it's not meant for it. But,
but yeah. Although there's some planes that can go on water.
Really? But what's the objective? Cool. Is the objective to get in the air?
Just landing on water.
Yeah, those are cool. Those are pretty cool. There was one at a lake that I was at, and we're all just like chilling on the dock, having some beers. It was beautiful, and all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, this plane just lands like 100 yards from us, and we're like, "What the hell?" Like, we're like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" I forgot that like you can do that here. I was just not aware. Yeah. So that's that. That's the mailbag. I hope that we answered some of your questions. I was just kind of putzing around through some of the other questions. I don't think there's a few, but we like next week again. Our topic's going to be careers in CCGs, be it from the play aspect, the broadcast aspect, the design aspect. We got all the bases covered, so we can talk to you about that. So if you got questions, fire them away. Let us know.
Drop them over. And thank you for these questions, as always, for dropping them in. It's always good to sift through, see some cool stuff, get some laughs, reply to some with some funny replies. And yeah, we appreciate you all for sending them over, because it's good stuff.
Hell yeah.
Hell to the yeah.
Hell yeah. I gotta go. So my muffler started to sound like a performance
Fast
muffler.
And Furious.
Yeah. So I gotta go get that replaced. I made, for anybody out there who just finds a place and goes, spend 10 minutes making phone calls. I promise you it's worth it. I called one place that had a lot of great reviews. I was just going to go to it. I was like, I'll make an appointment and I'll go. And I called and they're like, yeah, it's going to be $500 approximately. Like, it's like the parts and labor is going to be about $450 plus probably a couple extra things here and there, and like small little like nuts and bolts and gaskets and stuff like that. So probably altogether about $500. I was like, oh, okay, no problem. I called one other place. I said, this is the car. I need a muffler replaced. What am I looking at? They're like, about $249. I was like, $249. I said, that's for the parts. Price. Yeah. I'm like, that's for the parts? Yes. The labor? Yeah. All included. I come in and I'm giving you $250 and I'm leaving. Yeah. Sold. Yeah. All right. I'll see you when I see you. Like, that's kind of where it's at. So it's just hilarious that one phone call saved me $250.
That's how it is. Some shops just charge crazy, and they overcharge for stuff. And I think I feel like when it comes to mechanics and car places, is they always try to see how knowledgeable you are of what something is supposed to cost, and based off of that, they kind of raise the price out of the roof. So like, yeah, how much is this? 500. Yeah, and it's like, but yeah, we need to check everything. Check, if the screws are tied to a certain amount, if it's properly mounted, if all the gaskets are proper. If not, we need to replace all of them. It's kind of like blah 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 blah. Well, normally when it comes to like changing a muffler, it's just undoing 2 screws, checking everything else is not corroded, because most of the stuff is just, you know, metal, and out of time it just gets corroded. You get holes in it, and that's why the car starts farting and making weird noises. Or you sound like Fast and Furious, but your car is not really fast and you're not very furious. And yeah, it's just a quick bolt-on fix, and like mufflers are very cheap to produce, because it's just, you know, it's just made out of steel, bolt-on, easy clap.
Yeah, that's it. Just wanted to get it done. That's it. That's all.
Nice.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. I get to see you soon, but that's
man,
not
I
soon
can't
enough.
wait. Can't wait.
I'm looking at my calendar right now. What day are we? We're Wednesday the 13th. So I got 2 weekends left, and then I'm on a plane coming to see you. I just got to I'm waiting for the info. Like, I'm waiting for them to send me the info, but I will be there. So how about, are we going to do a live Flurza recording?
For sure.
Oh my God. Where are we going to do that? Can we do it at CDPR Studios?
I think we can make it happen.
I don't want to like intrude, but I think it would be really damn cool to, you know who's going to be there, by the way?
Who?
A Mr. Mark Theus of 983 TV.
Ooh.
I think he's going to be making an appearance, if I'm not mistaken, to record some stuff. So maybe we can do a Flurza, just us, and we'll see what if he wants to do anything extra. But yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know who else is going, but
let's talk about it. Let's schedule something, because that sounds fun.
Yes, we'll get together and we'll do it, and I think it'd be really, really cool. We can do like a walk around. You could show me like the coffee station. We can give you a little.
Yes,
it's gonna be great.
We can show me making coffee good.
Hell yeah! So to everybody out there, I'm going. You're not. Suck it. Ha! Ha! That's what I'm saying.
Who's the sellout? Who's the traitor?
Exactly.
Who's the whatever.
All those people who are like, who the hell is Flake? What the hell? Who cares? What is he doing?
Yeah.
What has he ever done? Well, I'm going. I got the invite. You didn't. So clearly someone likes me.
Yeah.
Ha!
Plus, Flake has 2 Secret Lab chairs. So yeah, eat that.
Yeah.
2 chairs.
2
that's
chairs.
I got 2
chairs, man. Yeah, 2 chairs is my name. What a bad name.
Flake 2 chairs.
Flake 2 chairs.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to end the show as I do every week, which is saying, I love you, Pavel.
Love you too, man. I can't wait to see you finally in person. It's been so long.
It has been so long, and yeah, we'll sort it out. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to the Flurza Experience. Don't forget, next week's topic is going to be careers in CCGs. So get your questions flowing. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening to this. And yeah, we love you all. And yeah, we shall see you as always next week.
Bye.
Bye.